I really enjoyed the practice yesterday, thank you. Righty-ho, I'm excited because I have a real person, an in-person 3D person and some cats as well. But we're going to start off getting moving straight away actually. So there's a cat on my mat. There you go. So you can come into all fours. You want your hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. And we're going to start padding the hands out like cats actually, that wasn't planned. And you can move the fingers to point towards you and then out to the side and then forwards. So we're warming up the wrists, the fingers, the hands. And you might want to take a little bit of time as well, maybe with the fingers to the knees, peeling back slightly and getting a bit of a stretch in the fronts or backs of the wrists. Which one is that? Fronts, I think. And you can also have the backs of the hands to the floor, fingers pointing inwards, and start to kind of push the hands down and pull them apart on the mat. And then do a little bit more padding. And we'll sit both to our heels and circle out the hands a little bit. You can bring the heels into touch, circle them inwards and outwards. And then we'll come right up to the tops of our mats. And it depends how you're used to practicing sun salutations. You might like the feet hips width apart. You might like the toes to touch with a little gap between the heels. So that's your choice. We'll take a moment here to roll the shoulders up, back and down a few times. You can have a bit of buoyancy in the legs as well, letting the knees bend as you bounce up and down. And we'll change the way that we're circling the shoulders now. And then take the shoulders all the way up to the ears, scrunch them right up, take them back and roll them all the way down, letting your palms spread, your fingers spread. And starting to rock forwards and backwards in the feet here. So you notice what it's like when you come slightly off center and then you rock forwards and backwards, making it smaller and smaller till you're in a place where you can really push down through all corners of the feet. What I mean by that is the big toe mound, the outer edges and the middle part of the heel. Lift up tall through the crown of the head. Nod the chin ever so slightly down and you can gaze down the nose towards the ground. Take a few deep breaths here. Notice the rise and fall of the chest, rib cage and belly with every inhale and exhale. Then bring your palms placed together at heart center. You can close your eyes here. And I'd like to invite you to take a moment to either dedicate today's practice to someone that you love, that maybe you want to share the energy you cultivate with. Or you can also set a personal intention, something you want to cultivate for yourself or for the world. Take a deep, full breath into your intention, breathing life into it. And sigh out anything that stands in your way. And let's go for our sun salutations. So inhale, arms all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, bend the knees, drop the head. Inhale, hands to shins, thighs or floor for flat back, gaze down. And exhale back to your plank position. Let's take an inhale in plank to push the ground. Good. Exhale, knees lower, elbows in, chest lowers. Untuck the toes. Inhale, peel the chest up, stay low, gaze down the nose. Exhale, touch the forehead to the mat. Your inhale carries you through all fours. You tuck the toes and the exhale, press the belly to the thighs for your downward facing dog. And you can pedal out the feet here for your down dog, easing into the backs of the legs. Make sure you're spreading the fingers of the hands. And you've got this sense of lift up and back through the hips. Nice. From there, take the gaze up between the hands, Lift the heels, come all the way up on the toes, bend the knees and squeeze the belly to the thighs so you've got a launch pad to take a big step all the way forward. When you step forward, inhale to your halfway lift. Gaze down at the floor so the back of the neck's long. Exhale to forward fold. You can bend your knees if you need. Inhale, swing the arms up, light, fresh energy, reach to the sky. Exhale, palms to heart center. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So inhale, reach the arms up, lift. Exhale, hinge from the hips, hug the lower belly in to lower down, head drops. Inhale, halfway lift, gaze down at the floor so the back of the neck's long. Exhale, take it back to your plank position. And let's take an extra inhale here to actively push through the hands. Exhale, the knees lower and the chest slowly lowers. Untuck the toes, inhale, chest lifts, gaze down the nose. This time as you exhale, tuck the toes and use your core engagement to lift your hips back in one flow. And you can take a few breaths here in your down dog. Again, spreading the 10 fingers. Having a little micro bend in the knees and the elbows so you can focus on lifting those hips up and back. Belly presses towards the thighs, head drops as well. So you can shake the head a little yes and no if you like. And when you're ready, we'll do the same thing we did before, where you lift up on the heels, gaze between the hands, bend the knees and press the belly back to the thighs. And this time you might want to jump or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Let the head drop, bend the knees. Inhale, press through the feet. Rise the arms up. Exhale, palms back to heart center. One more time. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, thighs or floor. Exhale, take it back to your plank position. Stay in plank. Take an inhale to push the floor, hug the belly in. Exhale to lower knees and chest. Inhale, peel the chest up and gaze down the nose. Exhale, hug lower belly in. Core engagement lifts the hips up and back straight to your downward facing dog. Pedal out through the legs again if you would like to. Spend some time in your down dog exploring any movement that your body might be interested in making. Or you can also stay in stillness, it's up to you. And we'll do that same thing of lifting the heels, bending the knees, belly to thighs, look between the hands. And this is our launch pad to step or hop all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, drop the head heavy. Inhale, root the feet, rise up with the arms. Exhale, palms to heart center. Take a moment to close the eyes here. To notice how your heart rate has quickened. To notice the breath. And to really feel the solid foundations of the ground beneath you. So as your feet are pushing down and rooting down, there's a real sense of lift through the crown of the head, and your whole spine can lengthen. We're going to take that into Utkatasana, chair pose. So big toes together, heels slightly apart. And start to sink the hips down and back, reaching the arms either forward or up by the ears, whatever feels better for your arms. Good. And you're kind of pouring the weight down through your heels here. You might even be able to wiggle your toes off the mat for a moment and then plant them down again lightly. There's a sense of hugging in the lower ribs. And you're probably starting to get heat building in the thighs now, so you're going to keep your breath steady to guide you through this posture, which translates from Sanskrit to fierce. So summon all your fierceness, which can be very useful in challenging times. And we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, hug in through the belly and lower down to forward fold. You can take some time here in ragdoll to bend the knees, take hold of opposite elbows and sway a little bit from side to side. So let the head be really heavy. Gravity is helping the upper body to be heavy. You can explore the weight distribution in the feet, maybe leaning slightly forwards and backwards and seeing how that feels. Then you're going to drop the arms, frame your front feet, so you can bend your knees as much as you need to be able to frame the front feet, and step it back to a plank. So check in with your energy levels today. It might be that you want to have the knees to the floor for modified plank, or it might be that you're going to have the knees lifting up, like Sandra. But you can come to knees if at any point you want to. And you're going to keep pushing down through those hands. Take a fixed point of the gaze down at the floor. Hug everything into your central line. So imagine you've got a line from the crown of your head going all the way down your spine. And you're hugging everything inwards, in through the belly. Your inner arms are hugging into the chest. You're pushing the ground actively through the hands. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees, and we're going to take a bit of a rock forwards and backwards. So you can make this your own. It might be that you want to kind of come all the way into a little back bend here, or you might want to back off a little bit and rock the hips forwards and back. You could also come to a full child's pose and rest there. So some free time here. Then we're all going to come into a child's pose. Really sink the hips back to the heels. You can always put a cushion in between the bum and the heels if you need to. And reach the fingers forward. Let the head drop. And you're going to now lift the head, gaze between the hands, and start to paint the fingers on the mat towards the knees, nice and slow. Then roll the shoulders up, back and down so the arms are by the sides of the hips. And take an inhale to sweep up with fresh energy, and an exhale to take a side bend over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend to the left. And it's kind of freestyle what you do with the hands here. You can keep following the breath. So as you exhale to lean one way, your hips are going to go in the opposite direction. And you can then start to make that into circles. So you're going to probably want to be tuning into your core here, this stable center that you've got. But the limbs are really free to move fluidly around that stable structure. Take that in other direction. And then come back to all fours. And you're going to tuck the left toes behind you. Take a little moment to rock forwards and backwards so you're easing into the back of that left leg. Then shoulders above wrists, come to stillness. Make sure your weight distribution is equal between both hands. Hug everything in and up through the belly and lift the back leg. So your toes are pointing at the ground, your heel is reaching back. You're then going to fly up with your right hand, thumb to the sky. So you're reaching forward through the fingers, back through the heel, and you've got this lovely length through the whole of the back body. Keeping the core engagement strong. Inhale with this length, and exhale to curl in, elbow towards the knee. Inhale to reach, find length. Exhale, curl in. One more time. Inhale, find length. Exhale, curl in. Then you can plant yourself back to all fours, and we'll take a few rounds of cat-cow in between sides. So let's inhale to drop the belly, chest forward, gaze up. Exhale, round the back. You can even push through the hands, chin to chest. Inhale, carve a line with the nose, the chest scoops forward. Exhale, gaze down the nose, chin to chest, rounded back. Continue to follow your breath here for the movement. And start to notice every articulation of the spine as it moves from its arch to its curve. And start to feel how the breath is initiating the movement. So when you inhale, the belly drops. When you exhale, you gently push the floor and round through the whole of the back. Okay, you're now going to come to a neutral position with the back and tuck the right toes behind you. Take a little rock forwards and backwards with the ball of that right foot on the floor first. Then you want to set up with your shoulders over your wrists. Start to hug everything in and up. Push the ground firmly and lift the right leg. Opposite hand comes forward, thumb to the sky. So you're reaching forward, forward, forward through the fingertips, back, back, back through the heel. Inhale here with this length. Exhale, hug belly in and up, curl under the body. Inhale to reach. Exhale, elbow moves in direction of knee. It may or may not touch. Inhale to reach. Exhale, curl under. And then you can come back to your all fours position. And step your hands about one handprint forward. Our index fingers are parallel. We're spreading our fingers nice and wide. We're pressing down through the fingertips, through all the edges of the hands. The toes tuck. First, start to push the belly to the thighs here. And then lift the hips all the way up and back. And we're moving into our downward facing dog again. Head is heavy. Great. From there, you're going to reach your right leg up towards the sky, toes pointing at the ground. Exhale, squeeze the knee towards the nose, the shoulders come over the wrists, and then we plant the foot down. You might need to help it forwards. And we're coming into a lunge. So, you have got your left hip reaching forwards and you're drawing up and back through the right hip crease. And let's feel for a sense of buoyancy here through the legs and through the central line of the pelvis. So it's almost like you are like an inflatable thing on lapping water in the ocean. Okie doke, then we'll settle down so the knee is over the ankle, steering more in the direction of the little toe side of the foot, and sweep your arms all the way up to the sky. We're going to inhale to reach for a diagonal position, still drawing up and back through right hip crease, and exhale to come back to center. Inhale, reach to diagonal, exhale, center. This time, inhale to diagonal. Exhale, hug lower belly in, root down through right foot and come into your warrior 3. So, you can always use something to balance here. We're not looking for perfection, we're exploring how it feels to lift one leg and stand on the other leg. Your left hip's dropping down in line with your right. Good. You can keep pointing your back toes to the floor if that helps with the hip alignment. And then you're going to very slowly start to search for the mat with your toes. So you're coming back to your original lunge with the arms diagonal. We'll inhale to reach up through the fingertips. And exhale to frame your front foot. You can either take it through a vinyasa or you can take it straight back to down dog. If you're moving through a vinyasa, it's plank. Inhale to push the ground. Exhale, knees lower, chest lowers. Inhale, chest lifts. Exhale, core engagement, lifts the hips up and back for downward facing dog. It's now time to raise the left foot in the air. And you're going to take an inhale with the left foot lifted. And an exhale, shoulders over wrists, squeeze the left knee in and plant the foot. You might need to help it forward. We're going to find our way up on this other side. Right hip is steering forward. Find that sense of buoyancy. So you can even use your fingers here in a kind of light way. Bit of bounce through the legs. And then we'll lift the arms up and we're going for structure after that bit of fluidity. So reaching back through the back here. A little gentle squeeze through the inner thighs towards each other. Draw up and back through that left hip crease as you inhale to your diagonal position. Exhale, core engagement, lift to center. Inhale, hinge forward, diagonal. Exhale, lift up. This time, inhale, diagonal. Exhale, pull the weight through that front foot and find your warrior 3 position on the other side. You can use anything you like to help you balance. Right toes point to the floor, right hip drops down in line with left. Keep the core engagement here. Fixed point with the eyes for focus. Absolutely fine to wobble. And when you're ready, start to look for the floor with your feet. So you don't need to look with your eyes, and find it with your toes. We're coming into diagonal once again. Inhale, reach up from your lunge. Exhale to frame your front foot. You can step straight back to your down dog this time. And once again, feel free to pedal out the legs to have a shift and a move about, or you can always stay in stillness. Making sure to keep the head heavy. Gaze can be towards the knees. Then lower the knees to the ground, so we're coming back to an all fours position here. And we're going to take big circles. So we've had a bit of structure and we're going back to our fluidity now. So one of the things I really love about yoga is that dance between structure and flow. And you can move that the other way as well. Notice sensations arise in different parts of the body as you do this. Where are you feeling it? And from there you can come back to all fours and sit down to one side, let the legs swing out in front of you. So we're coming to Dandasana now. You can scoop out any fleshy parts if you like, so you can get right down on the sit bones. The toes reach back towards you. You're reaching away through the heels. Shoulders up, back and down to lengthen through the spine. Let's take the hands by the sides of the hips and nod the chin to the chest for Dandasana staff pose. So keep feeling that gentle rise and fall of the breath. The flow of the breath through the structure of this posture. Toes are active throughout. From there, slowly crawl your fingers forward by the sides of the legs and hinge from the hips. So it's like the chest is lifting up and then over as you hinge from the hips. You can always bend the knees if you've got quite tight hamstrings. And you can let the head drop as well when you reach kind of your edge in the fold. And let these deep, full breaths support you to feel into the stretch and to perhaps relax a little bit more into it. And you might like to imagine that you're taking breaths up towards any sticky bits in the shoulder blades, like you're inhaling to any tension up in the upper back. And the exhale allows you to perhaps relax just a tiny bit more. Keep those feet flexed, toes drawing back towards you. And when you're ready, you can inhale to roll up slowly. Exhale, hands come behind you. And we're going to either come into a modified reverse plank, or you can have your legs out straight. Depends what you're feeling like today. So if your legs are out straight, you're lifting the hips up as high as they'll go. You can point the toes. If it's okay for your neck, you can let the head go back, but I'm not going to do that. Or you can also have the feet under the knees. But wherever you are, keep pushing actively through the hands, lifting the hips up to the sky. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale here. Exhale, hips lower. Come back to that staff posture, but reach your arms out in front, like you could be holding onto a big beach ball between the palms of the hands. You're going to start to think about your core here. Start to hug in through the lower belly, hug in through the lower ribs, and slowly lower down. And you'll feel your pelvis rotating onwards. I don't even know what. Under. Thank you. Under. And lower back to your Shavasana. And when you're there, you can let the legs spread, the arms spread. I literally never skip this pose. I think it's the most important posture. So you can take some time to get settled here, to get any last wriggles or wiggles out of your system. And then come into your version of Shavasana. What makes you feel most comfortable, most supported, and most able to rest? Check that there's no holding in the jaw. So it might be that you can release that out through taking a deliberate yawn or moving the jaw around a little bit. And you can gently guide your awareness to the point between the eyebrows, because sometimes we're unconsciously frowning or furrowing the brow without even realizing. Can you soften across the forehead and relax all the muscles in the face? Notice where the back of the head touches the ground. And feel the head heavy there. Then start to extend your awareness to all the points of contact between the back of the body and your mat. So you'll start to notice the backs of the shoulders, arms, upper back, and down through the backs of the legs, the heels. And come back to noticing how it feels to breathe. So inhale, deep, full breath in. Belly expands, rib cage expands, chest lifts. As you exhale, everything falls and relaxes a little bit more. If you'd like to stay in your Shavasana, as always, feel free to just close down your device and continue to rest. I'm a big advocate for rest, so that is fully celebrated. If you do have stuff that you've got to get on with, you can start to deepen the breath. Take some wiggles of the fingers, the toes, rock the head from side to side. Wake the body up gently. Hugging the knees into the chest. Wrapping your arms around the shins, giving yourself a big hug Well done for coming to the mat today. Take a rock from side to side, massaging out the lower back. And you can finally roll over to one side, whichever feels right or whatever you've got space for, left or right. Curl up in a little ball. Final moment of stillness and rest here. Then keeping the eyes closed or the gaze lowered, start to find your way to your seated position. And you'll bring your palms together in Anjali Mudra at heart center. Bowing your head down to your hands for a number of reasons. In honor of your practice, to bow in reverence to each other and connect to everyone who is practicing today, and also to get a good stretch through the back of the neck. When you're ready, you can inhale to reach the arms up tall above the head, and exhale to spread the palms, spread out any of that extra calm that you might have found with the rest of the world. Hello! Thank you for joining me today, and thank you, Sandra, for demonstrating and being a real 3D human. None of this screen nonsense. Although I'm really, really glad for technology that we can do the screen stuff. So thank you for being here, and yeah, I'll maybe see you next week. Bye.